Hi there, welcome to this week's market analysis. So as usual, what we're gonna do is to summarize a little bit in terms of what has happened for the past week, and we'll look into some of the opportunities that you want to keep an eye on this coming week. Now if you take a look at the events calendar over here, what we see is last week was a relatively quiet one, but we do have some key data coming in. So you saw that we have the CPI from the US and the core CPI both came in lower than what the market has expected. So that kind of gave a little sell-off in the dollar as of last week. And we did have the pound GDP and prelim GDP coming in a little bit on the negative side of things, not as bad as what the market expected. But it's essentially still a contraction in terms of GDP itself, right? So that is actually not really a good sign for the economy perspective. Okay, so it was relatively a quiet week. Let's take a look at what are some of the things you want to keep an eye on for this coming week here. Now we do have on Tuesday Canadian CPI that will be pretty crucial. Again, these are all inflation related data. And on Wednesday, we have the RBNZ cash rate, so that is also going to be crucial. The market is currently expecting a 0.5% hike to 3%, so we're going to see how that's going to turn out, right? And on the same day in the afternoon, we have the pound CPI year on year, and the previous data came out at 9.4, and that's pretty huge, right? That means that the shorter term inflation as of this year is currently at 9.4. Market is expecting it to go up to 9.9 for the next data, which is going to come out. This is going to be important, right? Because if there is a miss in the expectation, which means that the CPI year on year doesn't really hit 9.9, perhaps it's lower than that, we might see a sell-off in the pound. Okay, and if it's going to be less than 9.4, which is a drop from the previous reported data, I believe that the sell-off in the pound is going to be even more aggressive. Okay, so this is definitely one of the key data for to watch. Okay, for the week. And after that, we do have the FOMC meeting coming in. However, I don't think that's going to be a major move in the market, and nothing really that significant towards the later part of the week. Okay, so I think the primary one that you might want to keep an eye on for potential trade would definitely be the pound on the CPI year on year. I think that's the most important data that is going to be released for this upcoming week, right? So keep an eye on that. Good, so with that, let's take a look at the charts. Now over here, we're going to start off with the dollar index first. Okay, so right now, as of now, last week's closing, what we're seeing here is the dollar did pull back a little bit. It's currently retesting at 50 and 618. I do expect a little bit more on the downside. We haven't really touched the 104.50 zone. We want to definitely keep an eye on that, and for me right now, I'm maintaining a pretty neutral bias on the dollar. Okay, want to see how the market opens and develop, at least for Monday and Tuesday. That's gonna give me a little bit more clue as to whether to look for upside for the dollar or continuation to downside. Now if you're gonna see a little bit of a pullback consolidation like that, okay, then what we can expect is this perhaps will turn out into a flat pattern, and this can then push back up. Overall, this pullback may have been completed, and we can continue to see more upside on the dollar. Okay. Alternatively, what we can see is that the dollar might just sell off over here. Okay, and if that's the case, then we want to see how the market reacts around the zone around 104.50. Perhaps a short-term bounce, or potentially catch a short-term buy trade over there. Okay, so that's on the dollar. So looking at euro dollar, it's more or less the inverse of that. Okay, the market pulled back towards the 50 and 618. Right now, I'm again maintaining a very neutral perspective, because one way to look at it is that we can have a little bit of a crawl here, and the market therefore bounce back because we do have this trend line to support it overall. Alternatively, what we can expect over here, okay, is that we can also see this as a 1, 2, 3 correction, and this can start to move lower. Okay, So we definitely need a little bit more information and see how the market develop when the week starts to kind of decide, do we want to maintain a bullish bias or do we want to maintain a bearish one. Okay, so do keep an eye on that. We do need a bit of information. I think by Monday and Tuesday we're gonna get that. Now Gbp Usd, so understanding that we do have the CPI year on year coming in for the week, I believe that the start of the week is going to be a little bit quiet. Following that, okay, really depends on how the market develop. Right now we're definitely very neutral. We are in a range bound environment. However, if let's say going into the CPI itself, if we can see a little bit of a nice consolidation, pull back towards the top here, perhaps something like a triple top, when the data comes out, it's definitely going to create some kind of volatility. Perhaps we can trade it back to the downside. Okay, or alternatively, if let's say the market comes down a little bit more, does a very nice little crawl, potential double bottom, waiting for a CPI to create that kind of volatility, then this can also bounce back up and we can look for the buy trade itself. Okay, so keep an eye on that. And then of course we have the Aussie over here. Very nice run. Last week we managed to take the buy trade to the upside. As of now, it seems to be stalling a little bit at a 618. We do expect a little bit of pullback, and if that's the case, forming a correction, then we can look for one more push back towards 7230. However, this might take a little bit of a time, because if over here it just continue to crawl, it might take maybe a couple of more days to develop that, and then a couple more days for it to come back as a pullback, and then only we'll start to look for the buy. Okay, so as of now, I'm maintaining a bullish bias on the Aussie dollar. However, if you're not in any buy trade right now, it's not a good time to be entering. If you're already in a buy, just manage your trade accordingly, and you might want to shrink your, I would say, trail your stop loss a little bit more aggressive if this develops and turn out into a crawl. So that's on Aussie. The dollar cat over here, we are maintaining a bearish bias. Okay, so we did see the market push down pretty impulsively, ending the week with a little bit of a consolidation. If the week starts off Monday and Tuesday with a correction continuing to develop like that, we have a very decent trade that we can take this to the downside. Okay, with a potential target TP1 over here, previous low at 2525. Okay, so dollar cat, I think this week here is definitely going to be one of the key pair to look out for. Now the next one here on dollar yen, my personal suggestion for this is to maintain a very neutral perspective for now, because what we see in the chart over here is we did get quite a bit of different impulses, right? We have a strong move down, a strong move up. There's a little bit of reaction at a 50 and 618, and then the market came down pretty sharp as of now. So in terms of pattern recognition, it's not the best one to be looking out for. We don't really have a very clear directional pattern directional bias based on the pattern. And for that reason, personal suggestion is to be maintaining a very neutral perspective, and you do not want to pay too much attention on dollar yen as of this week. Now in terms of gold, okay, we do get quite a bit of an interesting development as of now. Price seems to have slowed down quite significantly recently, for the past couple of days. Usually this kind of suggests that a potential pullback or reversal is coming. Okay, obviously we won't have the best time that we know 100% when it's going to U-turn, but usually when this develops, my suggestion is to be cautious in buying. You want to be a little bit more patient, wait for a better pullback, a clearer pullback before you look for the buy. Okay, so for me, long term in gold is still bullish, is still upside. I have no interest in selling that. However, I want to wait and see if we can get a clear kind of correction first. Buying here right now may not be the best area to get involved in it. Okay, so for me, if I were to clear this a little bit, I would suggest you want to be patient and see if we can get a pullback. Okay, so perhaps something like that, a pullback towards 1745 or 1730. That will present a much better area to look for the buy trade. Okay, so this week here, I think you might not get that. within the week, but if you're more of a short term and you like to take kind of a counter trend, you can consider on a sell trade on gold. Okay, S&P 500 continue to pulse up a little bit. Okay, so as of now, definitely we are looking more on the bullish side of things. The market actually managed to break off this high here as of last week, taking it out, and we do see a pretty impulsive move to the upside. Okay, so for now, if we are able to get a correction within maybe a couple of days, Monday to Wednesday, we can see this in the market on S&P. We can expect more upside from there. Okay, but if you don't get this, I don't think you want to be buying it immediately, because the market can instantly reverse from here. There's a little bit of a correction, and this can keep falling back down. Right, so if you're looking at the equities market, my suggestion is give it a couple of days, see if this turns out into a correction. If it does, then you have a trade to the upside. If not, you know, just stay out of it, wait for a better opportunity. Now, last one over here, we have Bitcoin. Okay, so Bitcoin still maintains around this area of the zone. We didn't really get a very clear break, right? So we did poke above it, but the market came back down a little bit. Not really a very obvious breakout. So for me right now, I think what you want to look out for is if the market continues to come down a little bit more, that's a bit of consolidation below this high. You might have a good opportunity to look for a sell trade on Bitcoin back towards this low. Okay. However, if you can get a decent break back above it, a pullback, a correction, okay, then that would be a very decent trade on the upside. But if you don't see that, that's a no buy. Cool. So that's all for me for this week. Okay, I think the clearest opportunity to really look out for is the dollar Canadian as of now in terms of the major pairs and instruments. Do look out for the pound CPI. Okay, that's definitely going to create some kind of volatility in the pound. You might be able to capitalize that move as well. Having said all that, okay, just a gentle reminder, as usual, always manage your risks. All the best to your trading, and I'll see you guys in the next video. This video is partly sponsored by Zen Phoenix, bringing you the weekly market analysis. And of course, if today you would like to take your trading to the next level, or if today you're very new to its Forex trading, then we do have a collaboration together with Zen Phoenix where you can actually get the 4 Trading Pillars Masterclass for free, fully sponsored by Zen Phoenix. All you have to do is click on the link in the description and find out more how you can actually get access to this masterclass for free.